The Eagles have knocked off the Chiefs dynasty, stopping a three-peat against the greatest quarterback in NFL history, while executing a better game plan against the best coach in the game today, en route to a dominating performance in a Super Bowl rematch. This team had plenty of doubters. Even fans questioned the commitment of the 2024 Eagles. Just a year ago, these Eagles were watching the Chiefs hoist their second Lombardi trophy in 2 seasons, defeating their NFC nemesis in Super Bowl 58. They were at home after getting embarrassed by the Bucs in the wild card round of the 2024 playoffs, ending one of the wildest and weirdest collapses we have ever seen.
Hopefully, as long as I'm playing, I don't have to be a part of something like this again.
Living in self-pity was something the Eagles could have done. Remembering the heartbreaking loss in Super Bowl 57, the reality check of the 2023 season, and an ugly start to the 2024 season. Teams can be broken by what the Eagles have gone through the past 3 years. That lingering what if we never get back to avenge our loss. Why can't we finish the job? How was the media, fans, the entire NFL, and even the organization so wrong about this Eagles team? I'll unravel the story of the 2024 to 2025 Philadelphia Eagles. Chapter 1, Heartbreak. Let's rewind to the 2022 season. Hurts and the Eagles were cooking up greatness like his mama's barbecue, undefeated for most of the season until a humbling loss to the Washington Commanders. The MVP chants were buzzing, the defense kept racking up sacks, everything was going great. Then Hurts got injured in a game against the Chicago Bears, leading him to miss the next 2 games. The Eagles went on to lose both matchups and some of the spark they had all season. The playoffs wiped away some. Doubt about Hurts and the Eagles. After earning the 1 seed in the NFC, the Eagles made short work of the overmatched New York Giants. The NFC Championship was supposed to be the best test, clashing against a team everyone wanted to see them play. The 49ers pulled up to Philly and left with no quarterback and a bitter taste in their mouth. While people thought the Eagles could win that game, the underdog role was for sure at play for the Birds. Despite the victory, nobody wanted to praise the Eagles for what they had accomplished. Purdy got his arm taken out, and the Eagles defense kept knocking out any Niners quarterback they could. This was not a true test. The exam was rigged because of one argument. The Eagles would have lost if Brock Purdy finished the game. The Eagles could have cared less. They took all their flair and flaws into a matchup with the boys from Arrowhead. The AFC 1 seed Chiefs had gone through their own trials and tribulations to get back into the Super Bowl. The league slept on them and got some bad wake-up calls, including the 2022 Eagles. The slip and slide field the Eagles had played on negated their historic pass rush. Able to gain a 10-point lead going into half wasn't enough for the Eagles, getting out-coached and outplayed in the second half. The Chiefs marched back to win Super Bowl 57 and humble the NFL community. Chapter 2, The Collapse. The look of a champion only comes after the look of defeat. Nobody seemed more defeated than Jalen Hurts after that epic Super Bowl performance he put on, only to fall short when it counted.
I can't lie to you, bro. That last one changed my soul, man.
The organization had figured it would be all good, and run it back became the identity of the Eagles offseason. Changes came from the coaching staff, the roster, and from within the locker room. The 2023 Eagles had turned into a team that didn't have a grasp on the reality they lived in. Defeated the Chiefs at home, ironically. Earned an overtime victory versus the Bills, which at the time was a Super Bowl preview. Yikes if you had bet that one. Just before the 49ers crashed out on them for an NFC Championship rematch in Philly. All the juju the Eagles had before that game went flying out the window. A team that kept finding ways to win now found themselves bleeding internally. The Eagles would lose 5 of the last 6 games, including a smackdown by the hands of the Bucs. Chapter 3, here we go again. That face on Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie said it all. I'm finna fire everyone, including loudmouth Nick Sirianni. Hurts getting traded, AJ getting moved, the whole house getting cleaned. Good thing Lurie took a vacation before letting that face get him into something not even Howie Roseman could finesse them out of.
Quote, no one is safe. 4 words that kind of sum things up.
Sirianni humbled himself and gave the Eagles whatever they wanted to keep his job. They hired a coaching staff for him, spent more money on the roster, and got Sirianni to figure it out with Jalen Hurts before they both gone.
That paint the relationship between Sirianni and Jalen Hurts in a negative light.
The foundation of Hurts and Sirianni's relationship would be fractured after watching how they performed in 2023. The quarterback and head coach have to be on the same page, it's like the managers of a restaurant beefing about what's on the menu.
Relationship that you have, it needs work that with everybody.
The 24th offseason brought another lot of changes for the Eagles. Howie Roseman got into his Duffy again to improve an already Super Bowl worthy roster. Among the signing of Zach Bond, drafting Quinyon Mitchell, and Cooper DeJean, this man signed Saquon Barkley. That was single-handedly the most impactful and petty move of the 2024 offseason. Cheers on that one, Howie. The talent on the roster was there. Everyone was in place, including former Dolphins cast-off defensive coordinator Vic Fangio, to rehab an awful unit from 2023, ranking at the bottom of the league in every category. The latest boy wonder, Kellen Moore, had to keep Hurts and Sirianni from undermining each other, plus get the best out of this stacked team. Through the first quarter of the 24th season, this Eagles team looked mid and dysfunctional again. Everyone was waiting for the other shoe to drop, and once it did, they were going to have the whole team's head for it. Hurts was regressing by continuing to turn the ball over despite winning 2 of their first 4 games. Sirianni seemed to be coaching on the hot seat, looking over his shoulder at his OC or the GM's ownership. The Eagles organization was given the break that was needed to weather the early storm. Following a narrow victory against the Saints, a little foreshadowing on the league's part, and a quick butt whipping by those Bucks again, the Eagles headed into the bye week searching for a way to avoid spoiling this collection of talent.
We made our mind up after bye week that we're going to be a team that they're going to talk about for a very long time.
Chapter 4, Inner Excellence. Leadership takes courage and the faith of others to believe in you, even when it's uncomfortable. The Eagles rallied behind their leaders in order to steady the rocky road. Winning 10 straight games, what changed? Yes, AJ, it was passing.
Things you think that the offense needs to improve on? Passing.
Well, that and the Eagles started to believe in what they built. A rough and vicious team, willing to grind a win from any team that's in the way.
Well, you know what I choose violence.
The defense was getting better on the low, and everyone had to check their egos so Saquon could cook. Chapter 5. Keep the main thing the main thing. In the midst of winning games, more noise about how the Eagles were winning overshadowed the fact that they were winning. The narrative was the Eagles were only in this position because of the talent on the roster, and Saquon was the best player on the team. Totally ignoring how Hurts cut the turnovers out of his game, was making all the right checks at the line, and being effective and efficient with the pill. Playing chess, not checkers, became a knock.
It's cold.
Hurts was now given the game manager label instead of the field general. Never mind the fact they were just in a Super Bowl without Barkley. Y'all do remember that, right? Okay, so the Eagles saw the importance of Hurts when he got his head knocked off against the Commanders week 16. 5 takeaways by the defense, and Skinny Pickett couldn't get the job done. Chapter 6. Hungry dogs run faster. Everyone kept saying the Eagles couldn't sustain this style of football. The young defense would only let them down at some point. Finished the season ranked first in total defense. And then the run game would slow down. Saquon rushes for over 2,000 and broke the total rushing record. Hurts couldn't throw them to victory. Threw for over 200 yards in 2 championship games. Oh, legit won Super Bowl MVP too. I remember that like it was yesterday. This Eagles team marched into the 2025 playoffs limping but dangerous, starving to get back into the bowl. How could this vulnerable Eagles team shore things up and run through the NFC? Here's a hint: lean on the run game, have a field general QB, and ultimately defense wins championships, bashing the Packers, Rams, and then getting some revenge on the Commanders. In my last video, I unraveled the keys to this Eagles victory. Go check out that video. But I explained how the Eagles needed to rely on 3 keys to beat KC, all of which played out. Chapter 7, they not like us. The Eagles had a date with the Chiefs for Chapter 2 of a now Super Bowl rivalry. 2 teams that have traded wits on the biggest stage in football, had scores to settle. Philly had proven they weren't the same team from 2022, but still came into the matchup with the Chiefs as underdogs. Hurts in the passing game was questioned. The defense would get exposed. The special teams issue would make a difference. Following up on the heels of an epic collapse and a heartbreaking loss to the Chiefs in 2022, this Eagles team had redemption on their mind and wouldn't settle for anything less than this outcome. The Eagles got their lick back. Winning Super Bowl 59 is the perfect way to end their season. I mean, just think about it. One of the greatest teams ever put together, one despite people doing all that hating. Chapter 8, NOLA, beat down. There isn't much to dissect from the actual game. The Eagles said it's up for the Chiefs this time, and there ain't going to be no Mahomes magic at the end of this game. From the jump, the Eagles proved they were the better team and dominated all 3 phases. Yes, Hurts was the best player on offense, and the Eagles defense had Mahomes running running like 04 Vic. Mahomes played well, if you take away the 3 turnovers and lack of inspiration from his unit. He wiggled away from the Eagles a couple times. Chiefs were holding on a good amount of those scrambles. Oh, and the Chiefs didn't score a single point until the last minute of the third quarter. Some garbage time touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Other than that, the Eagles defense just couldn't stop Mahomes, right? That face showed me the Chiefs were not winning this game. Mahomes' frustration made me believe the Chiefs planned for this to be easier. His face screams, "Why ain't this working, coach?" This play killed the Chiefs' momentum. Pick 6 puts the Eagles up 17-0. Another pick helps the Eagles go up 24-0. Third quarter, Hurts delivers Smitty a dot. You can put the kids to bed. It's over. This game got out of hand quick. It was 40-6 in the fourth quarter. The Chiefs managed to make the game respectable with the final score of 40-22. The backups was in, but forget about that.
Total domination tonight in Super Bowl 59, and they crush the Chiefs.
Anyway, the media is going to rewrite this win on behalf of all the doubters of the Eagles and Jalen Hurts. They are going to say, well, the defense won this game, not Hurts. There is too much talent on this team. They should have won. The Chiefs made the game closer than the score shows. Bruh, they just needed the ball more. Let me make something very clear. Jalen Hurts, for the second time, outplayed Mahomes in the Super Bowl, scoring 3 total touchdowns, 2 passing, and 1 rushing tub via the brotherly shove. Second, the defense was challenged and questioned. How could they stop the great Mahomes? Just like 2017 Eagles against the great Tom Brady. You line up and remember that the Eagles D-line is full of dogs, Bryce Huff not included.
We got a bunch of dogs, I'm telling you. A bunch of dogs, man.
6 sacks and 3 forced turnovers let the world know the Eagles defense is real. Yahoo Sports has the Eagles as a minus 650 betting odds.
Got the best secondary, best D-line, best front 7 in the league right now.
Making Philly early favorites to go back-to-back. This almost is the case every time a team wins a championship. But the Eagles are rare. They remind me of a Seahawks team after winning a Super Bowl and had their best players still in their prime, blowing out a future Hall of Fame quarterback. Hopefully, unlike the Seahawks, Hurts and the Eagles keep the main thing. The main thing. Go check out how I predicted Hurts would lead the Eagles to a Super Bowl in the cards above. Subscribe for the best storytelling in football. Chop it up with y'all in the next one.
The greatest Eagles team in modern history.